you went to a homeowner's house and it was this sort of style with the beams and everything, and you had to do all that additional work, would you charge extra?
Dan, got a message off you saying that these walls are a challenge.
Yeah.
Do you want to explain to me what you're having to deal with right now? And Luke, was that a laugh in the background from Luke?
Just a laugh, yeah.
I think challenge might be an understatement to what's going on in the build. Dan, what are you working with right now?
The walls are just not level at all. There's bellies everywhere, so you've got to scribe the worktops to the wall.
Scribe, what does that actually mean?
Basically, run a pencil line down, you just follow the belly of the wall. You won't really see it on this, but if you go to the one next door, you can actually see the ripples of the wall. Probably just the ATS, to be honest, but the plaster should have at least tried to get it plumb. Because if you look at the plaster, you can actually see the old plaster coming through. So it's almost as if he's literally just put a skin coat and just followed the existing wall.
Yeah, and I'd probably say that's partially my fault because I made the mistake of booking you in and not getting the plaster on site. So you've had to take a couple of days off site, we've got the plaster in.
Yeah.
It sounds like we tried to rush it a little bit, not done the best job that we could, but you guys are having to make do with it right now. Is that fair?
Yeah.
So once you've scribed it, what do you actually have to do? Are you cutting
basically,
the actual carcasses? What happens?
We go off that. See where there's it's flat there, it comes out. What's that, about 5 mil?
I'm looking at this gap there.
Yeah.
Okay.
As you can see, it's tight to the wall there. So basically, we've got to cut that bump. Basically these sides out, so when the worktop goes back, it follows that bump in the wall.
Otherwise, what you're going to end up having to do is put a tremendous amount of sealant down the back of that, and it will just
don't do that. Yeah,
you guys don't do that. We've got the professionals.
You are supposed to have like a 5 mil gap all round to allow for, because obviously it's real wood, it still expands and contracts, so you've got to leave the gaps to allow for that to move. So otherwise you end up with cupping if there's no movement, and then basically worktops are scrap.
So Dan, what have you done here? Is this because you're actually having to marry up against the brick? You've scribed that. I'm learning words.
You'd have to scribe it around the brickwork, otherwise you just end up with basically a gap all the way down. It just wouldn't look right. If you scribe it to the brickwork, basically it just makes a feature of the brickwork really.
Looks dead smart. Let's go and have a look at the cottage. Where are we at?
Ooh, this looks different, doesn't it?
This is looking nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're nearly finished here, to be honest. We've got a couple of end panels to put on and fillers, basically just to take the units to the end of the wall, so you've got no gap. Plimps for the bottom, obviously the extractors in, ovens in.
How many times did you actually have to do something like this on a job?
Never.
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 Question, would that have been an oversight on our side in terms of...
No, it would have been up to us because of the survey. You give us a plan before we fit, we'd always come to site and do a survey, make sure there's nothing that's going to catch us out.
So you knew what you were getting yourself in for when you did it, but you thought that's where it needs to go to keep the future of the property?
Yeah.
Cool, I appreciate the effort.
We both avoided it for a while, didn't we?
Well, actually doing it,
Just looking at it going...
Out of curiosity, what did you actually have to use to cut that?
That was an angle grinder.
Just an angle grinder all the way?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you went to a homeowner's house and it was this sort of style with the beams and everything, and you had to do all that additional work rather than just a fairly new house where you could just come fit the kitchen and it'd be done,
Yeah.
would you charge extra?
You would price it in, yeah, for anything, any mishaps or anything.
Because
so
obviously it's taking more time.
Yeah.
Yep.
It looks bigger.
It's-
you know, like you've got
agree.
a lot of worktop.
I think it's just because of
Kitchen
the light
space.
colour of the worktop and obviously the oak that brings all the colour out. Yeah, you can see here, look. We've had to scribe it to the wall.
If you look down it. Thing as well with these units, because of how far out the wall is, we've had to take the backs off, haven't we? More on different units. I mean, you can have to see it. So these are right back to the wall. You'd usually have a 40mm overhang if you look down that one. If you bring it out,
You
a
mean
little bit more,
overhang meaning the gap at the back between
you
the
got the
wall and
void.
the back of the cabinet?
We've got a surface void, well obviously for pipes and cables, but we've had to take it completely out there.
And why is that?
Just the walls were so bad. Yeah, and obviously with the corner post it's got to be square, because if you didn't you'd tell.
In terms of tiling, here we're going up to here, correct?
From the worktop to under the cupboard, and then obviously in the hob area you'd go all the way up to the top, so you got a splashback to stop any grease or anything. It's just this wall really, I don't know what you're thinking. Would you want it carrying on round, same as the worktop, or would you want it to the ceiling?
I would say, sorry, let me know if you agree, the same height. Don't make a full wall of tiles here.
Yeah.
So same height, because in the house we're basically going full height because there's nothing on the walls. Because I think what we've got going on here, which are the
I think that'll look too much.
the decorative render just
it's what
looks
you're going to see as soon as you walk in as well. It might be a bit.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
that's fine.
perfect.